Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video brought to you by SeniorCatWellness.com. As the title suggests, today we'll be discussing fur and why cats not only pull out their fur, but why they can lose it at times. It's important to note before we begin that cats have two primary shedding seasons during a calendar year. One takes place after the winter months in order to prepare for the warmer weather, and the other takes place around late fall in order to prepare for the cold, the typical growth of the cold weather coat. However, our topic today will not deal with the normal sheddings. This is all about ailments, diseases, conditions, etc. Reasons that your cat could begin to pull fur out, and reasons why your cat's fur can just simply fall out. Now that we have our foundation in place, let's take a quick look at this very important topic overview. Cats lose or pull their fur out in chunks due to medical illnesses or disease, allergies, environmental, insect, or food related, skin parasites, sudden changes to their environment, or because they are a certain breed of cat. The most common illnesses that can cause this problem are hypothyroidism, alopecia, cancer, heart disease, or diabetes. Skin parasites that are the main culprits include fleas, lice, ticks, and skin mites. Other factors such as intestinal parasites, dermatitis, nutritional deficiencies, or injuries from conflict can cause your cat to lose clumps of fur. With all of that important information now on the table, let's dissect it a bit. This topic is rather complex, likely more complex than it would appear on the surface. Understanding why your cat is either pulling fur or losing fur is extremely critical. The sooner a proper diagnosis is made, the sooner proper treatment can be initiated. Some issues involving fur loss can be quite serious. This is why, as an owner, it's important to act in a timely fashion if fur loss is occurring daily during a non-shedding portion of the year. Before we take a look at a host of reasons as to why fur pulling and fur loss can take place, let's discuss the clump up. Cats will often have balls or clumps of fur appear because fur that is being lost from the undercoat will often become trapped in the top coat. The more fur that accumulates, the larger the clumps can become. Eventually, they become what we would commonly refer to as fur balls. However, while this aspect of things is common during a routine shed, if your cat's fur is clumping up and this seems to be far more like a routine rather than some type of seasonal occurrence, something could be wrong. This is especially true given the fact that cats are essentially professional groomers. It's unnatural for a cat to have a perpetual state of fur clump. This could indicate a lack of grooming, and getting to the bottom of that issue could unveil the core issue at hand. While it could be something as minor, relatively speaking, as just stress or anxiety that can be rectified in short order, it could also point to something much more serious. In this section, we'll briefly go over a list of core issues that could be in play if your pet is pulling fur or seemingly losing fur entirely. We'll briefly return to a few of these notable issues here momentarily and address them individually. Potential issues can include allergies, skin parasites, intestinal parasites, illness or disease, dermatitis, stress, nutrition deficits, and rough activity. It's important to note that the aforementioned issues are many times not mutually exclusive. Your cat's fur issue could be the result of multiple concerns that are overlapping. Dermatitis, for example, which is used to describe most any type of inflammation of the skin, could involve anything from stress to allergens to injury to nutritional deficits to parasites, etc. In this case, many of the notable issues will essentially fall under this umbrella. If your cat's fur loss is accompanied by itchiness, redness, inflammation, scaling of the skin, then some type of dermatitis has taken hold. As we noted a bit earlier, please take your cat to the vet as soon as possible once these visual symptoms have been recognized. A timely diagnosis and a timely treatment is essential. In our listing involving potential skin issues that can trigger dermatitis, we noted nutritional deficits. This can actually be placed in a category of its own, as so many factors can go into triggering this type of skin and fur issue. Lack of proper nutrients, an excess of nutrients, and the combination of both can cause unhealthy fur growth. In order for your cat to maintain quality fur, a quality nutritional balance is indeed the key. Fatty acids and omega 3s can serve as the perfect combination to ensure high quality fur and skin. However, when a cat fails to receive this in their daily meals, fur can begin to fall out. This can also lead to fur clumping and, frankly, just an overall visual mess. Some of the most common nutritional deficiencies can include food that is low in fat, protein or fat of a poor quality, food that is not easily digestible, meals that contain an abundance of nutrients which can limit the way other nutrients are absorbed, and finally, a lack of proper fatty acid consumption, which can result in an essential fatty acid deficiency. Lack of proper fatty acid, just that very aspect alone, can result in dry skin, matted fur, leathered textured skin, and it can also leave your cat open to the possibility of infection. On the other hand, a copper deficiency, due to a lack of proper dietary nutrition, can result in dry and dull fur, fur loss, and loss of fur pigmentation. While some of this can be a little bit confusing, especially if you're concerned about making sure your cat has the perfect food balance, the best way to understand everything is to simply use yourself as an example. Let's say you eat nothing but pizza for 3 straight weeks. Well, over time, and likely in rather short time, you'd gain some weight. However, you'd probably also notice some changes to your skin and just how your body reacts: sluggish, tired, sick. The same can happen to your cat. If certain dietary needs aren't met, the body can be negatively affected. Irritated skin and fur loss are just one of the many issues that can potentially arise. Now that we've covered dermatitis and the dietary issues that can cause fur pulling and fur loss, let's address a few medical conditions that can be triggered not by a skin or a diet issue in the most literal sense, but rather several internal and external factors, several of which can be quite serious. While we'll only touch on each concern just briefly, if you'd wish to know more about a specific ailment, please stay tuned. Now, let's navigate through a list of concerns: hyperthyroidism, cancer and heart disease, diabetes, alopecia, which is hair loss, allergies, environment, insect and food allergies, skin parasites, fleas, lice, skin mites, and ticks. If you'd wish to know more about each of these issues independently in detailed fashion, please be sure to visit seniorcatwellness.com at the conclusion of this video if you're currently viewing this video from an off-site location. It should be noted that these issues can impact cats of all ages, from kittens to seniors. If your senior cat is pulling out fur or losing fur during non-shedding seasons, then it could be due to any of the reasons we have noted here today. While various types of ailments can cause your cat's fur to shed or be directly pulled out, it's important to note the environmental aspects, environmental conditions that go beyond allergies, for example. Cats are creatures of habit, especially felines that reside within the home. If a cat's day-to-day routine is thrown off, this can introduce some rather serious stress and anxiety. While we know why certain changes have been made, your cat doesn't have the first clue. This can be quite jarring for your feline. Fur pulling and even weight loss can be the result if your cat is super stressed out. In addition to routine changes, the movement of furniture around the home, placing your cat's bed in a new spot, and even conflict with someone within your home, whether it be another pet or even you. This, along with temperature changes, loud noises, etc., all of these can trigger an episode of high tension and high stress. Cats are not only creatures of habit, but they're quite emotional. It doesn't take much, at least in our view, in respect to our decisions and behaviors, to really shake things up for a feline. This is why it's very important to keep a close eye on your pet during times of obvious change. If guests are coming over, someone is working on your home, you're having to rearrange furniture, whatever the case may be, it's important to always give positive attention to your feline. That, in addition to a safe place to retreat, your cat will need an escape route during times of stress, a comfort zone that does not change. Make sure your cat has a positive and consistent outlet, a place to go to, a place to run off to, a place to relax. Otherwise, self-harm in the way of fur pulling could unfortunately be the result. Before we wrap things up here today, just one final note. Certain cat breeds are more genetically predisposed to lose fur compared to others. Some cats just have fur that is simply easier to remove. Have you ever seen a normal and healthy cat that just seems to have this bed of fur resting on top of their coat of fur? Almost like they're wearing a hairpiece. It can happen. Burmese, Siamese, and Bengal tend to lose fur and produce more loose fur than other breeds. Purebred cats have two copies of a non-dominant gene. This results in increased fur loss. Fur loss in this fashion is also hereditary. It's passed through generations. Fur loss of this nature can certainly be managed, but it is a tall task. That's why it's important to know just what you're dealing with before taking on this challenge. And on that note, that will conclude things for the video side of life. However, if you would like to know more about this very important topic and in deeper detail, please head on over to the aforementioned SeniorCatWellness.com. We've got an article just ready and waiting for your viewing pleasure. If you're currently watching us off-site, please click the initial link in the description box below. Said link will take you to this valuable piece of information. And until our paths cross again, and I certainly hope they do, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. Please have a wonderful day. All the best to you and yours, and we will talk to you later.